All right, let's make our final two picks to close out the show. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody. We've got Chicago Red Stars versus Gotham FC on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern kickoff in this one. Catch it all on Paramount Plus. We've got another pair of teams going head to head with a midweek game between them. Red Stars, the hosts in this one, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, which sometimes it doesn't. But let me just verify that
I know
very
I'm
quickly.
looking. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
they are
Yeah, they
absolutely
are
the
the
host
host.
in this one on May 7th. So maybe I was like, who's got more of the travel at this point? Chicago coming back in from Texas, Gotham, going from Carolina to Chicago. How much of that is going to play a role in things like that? Honestly, I don't think it might play too much of
I
a
don't
role
either.
in terms of a result in this one, Lisa, because I think it's going to come down to who's got the pieces, who's got the personnel, who's got the killer. And you know who's got the killer? Gotham FC's got the
Gotham.
killer, and Lynn Williams.
Yep.
And I'm going to go with Gotham on the
Yep.
road in this one against Chicago Red Stars.
Yep, same. She's got Lynn Williams has ice in her veins right now. She is playing lights out, being able to score tremendous goals, and even like the actual goals that she's scoring are good, of course, but they're clutch. That's I think a very key word for them. She has scored 5 goals in all across all NWSL competitions this season. She's just taking off. She did it with a broken wing. She did it with losing a shoe. She's gone through a lot as well, but she's still able to do it. And I don't think that she's going to slow down anytime soon. I talked about it at the top of the show. There are a handful of players in this league that have in their mind, and who knows, maybe in reality, they're on the bubble of making the United States women's national team World Cup roster. Lynn Williams is one of those players that is using every single moment she is on the pitch for Gotham FC to prove to Vlatko Ananovsky that she needs to be on a plane to Australia come the middle of July. She needs to be named to that World Cup roster in June. And she is making it very difficult for herself not to be named to that roster because of her ability to score goals, her ability to get into open areas, and frankly, her ability to do it so consistently. That's the key. She's not slowing down now, despite the travel going on the road, headed to Chicago this weekend against the Red Stars. Alyssa Nair has had some up and down weeks in this league, and I think that Lynn Williams is going to try to attack that back line, be really decisive in between the lines, use her speed, get in behind, and Gotham's on a roll right now. I give them the win as well.
Look, I think in my Challenge Cup tweeting the other night, one of the things I put out, I said the Red Stars have to be at like averaging conceding a penalty at this rate at least once a game at this point. I was like, who has the stat? And I'm so sorry. Someone actually replied and said it was like 0.67 or something like that. And I'm like, that's still not great. That's basically almost one. They're conceding at least one penalty a game. And I'm sorry if you've got two teams that are going head to head after some midweek match and maybe there might be some fatigue in the legs at a certain point in the game. That's such a tough, dangerous thing, I think, in the back of your head at this point. If you're the Red Stars, where you're just like, don't concede a penalty, don't concede a penalty. They've got Lynn Williams now, don't concede a penalty. So it's like, even if we see Lynn Williams, I think, come into a game like this off of the bench, maybe she's rotated a little bit. That is a player you do not want to run after maybe you've already been chasing around certain players for 60 plus minutes off of a midweek game. We didn't see as much rotation for the Red Stars, I think, in that game against Houston. I think we saw some shifts at 45 and the hour mark.
Yep.
It's about as much as you can do. I think it's the opposite of the champagne problems for Portland Thorns and OL Reign. When you look at Chicago Red Stars, they do not have a deep bench to rely on in terms of experienced players to go out there and kind of secure a result or scrape out a result. So I'm definitely going with Gotham in this one. I would imagine with both of these two teams kind of having to travel back into Bridgeview, that maybe we will see some changes happen in this game in those typical substitution windows. But even within all that, I think there's a little bit more for Gotham to squeak out a win in this one. So we're both going Gotham, and it's dangerous to go 2 for 2
I know.
in this one. So we'll see. But we've got one more game to make a pick. So let's have some fun with this one. It's going to be Angel City FC versus Kansas City Current. This is the game that is going to close out the weekend. 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff on Sunday. Catch it all on Paramount Plus. Angel City coming off of a midweek match, 0-0 scoreline against the Reign. KC Current had your typical build-up to a match week. And look, this is a team that closed out their first stretch of the season with some wins. And with Dabinia looking pretty good in Kansas City teal and red. And I'm not too sure if Angel City is going to disrupt some things here at home against the Current, but it's possible. We saw an excused absence for a couple players on Angel City who didn't play at all in that midweek match. Julie Ertz being one of those players. Is knowing the possibility of having that player back in the mix for Angel City, does that sway you a little bit and making a pick on something like this?
Yeah, I mean, having Julie Ertz in the midfield for Angel City helps this team tremendously. We saw her get her first goal last week in the regular season. This is a team that relies on her, but not in a bad way. I think she just elevates everyone. This is an Angel City side coming off in the regular season 3-3 draw with Portland. It was incredibly exciting. Lots of back and forth. They ended up scoring first, and then they concede two. Like it was so back and forth and fast paced. Yeah. It was incredibly entertaining. Right. I think this game is also going to have similar vibes. I think that it's going to be pretty back and forth between these two sides, but the way that Dabinia has started to take off and take shape for this Kansas City side has been really fun to watch. And I don't think that she's going to slow down anytime soon. Now, location, I think, is key when we're talking about both of these sides and where they're playing. This one's in Los Angeles at BMO Stadium for Angel City hosting it. That gives the upper hand to Angel City. It really does. But I think it also will motivate some Kansas City players, specifically someone like a Dabinia. There's something so powerful about being a player going into a screaming stadium that's screaming for your opposition and silencing them. And I think Dabinia is that type of player that her goal is to silence that crowd in LA. And when she gets on a mission, she just gets going. So Julie Ertz or not, I think we'll see her though. I think she'll make a really big impact. It'll make it difficult for DiBernardo and Dabinia, especially Dabinia, for Kansas City. But I still think KC is going to have the win and get an extra goal in on Angel City. I'm giving it to the Current. Giving my win to them.
Okay, so they're going to stay on a streak, in your opinion. All right, I like that. I like the energy in that. I think I'm with you in terms of the point you made with Angel City and their travel in a game that they had during their midweek. It's not as hefty, maybe as this very large country might have on some other teams in terms of going from Seattle to back to Los Angeles and getting back your prep in for a game like this. I mean, and if we anticipate Julie Ertz being available for this game, I definitely think it's going to have an effect on Kansas City Current and what they might try to do through Dabinia specifically. We talk a lot about that Ertz effect, right? And I'm also looking at Alyssa Thompson, a player who didn't, really have a really featured role in Challenge Cup in this midweek match. And this is a player that's all that we're finding out very quickly over these first 5 weeks of the season. It's just such an exciting player every time she touches the ball. And look, we're looking at a Kansas City Current side that seem to be solidifying some things in their defensive shape. I mean, Cassie Miller has gotten 3 consecutive starts for them if we're looking at their Challenge Cup match as well. Clara Robbins is someone who's really stepping up and taking a role for this team. And I don't know if they're ready for the excitement that Alyssa Thompson can bring on a ball in front of you in front of goal. So this was actually a little bit of a harder game for me to kind of make those picks and go back and forth and think about who's going to be available and if it's going to tip the scale one way or the other. But I actually think a midweek match semi on the West Coast for Angel City might benefit them going up against a streaking team at the moment. And I'm actually going to go with a result, and I'm going to go with Angel City in this one. I think they're going to be motivated from the last time they've got a couple of draws, because that's what they're coming off of. They're coming off a wild 3-3 draw. They're coming off a scoreless draw now. Yep. They want to get those. They want to get that win, and I think they can get it against Kansas City Current. So I'm going to go LA.
I like that. And Alyssa Thompson, she didn't play during the midweek, fully rested 18-year-old who doesn't need any rest. So she's ready to go, firing on all cylinders. She came out against Portland, scored the opening goal for them. I mean, unstoppable. I like your pick in Angel City. We'll see how it all shakes out on Sunday night. That closes out the weekend. Sunday, 8:00 Eastern is that kickoff.
Make sure y'all tune in. We got games all across Paramount Plus. Make sure, of course, you kick off your weekend the right way at 1 p.m. on CBS and watch Washington Spirit take on San Diego Wave FC.